Right, Friday, done for the week, and God, what a week it has been. That's for sure. I'll just try and do a quick roundup of what has gone on, because it's been a crazy one, no doubt. So yeah, obviously Sunday, finally the London Marathon came. And it was absolutely epic. Far exceeded what I had imagined in my head, and I'm going to come to that at the end of this. I just want to quickly, in my head, just clear out some of the not less important, but some of the day-to-day things that has gone on this week. Just to bring that to the front. Right, so certainly Monday, back and went to uni for the end of the Music Dare conference, and I'd clearly missed quite a bit on the weekend. There was an awesome jam that happened up at St Luke's, and that sounded really good, and I wish I was there for that, but obviously with the marathon that didn't happen. But from that, my eyes have been opened about the way recovery is done in different countries, in particularly Greece. The program over there is absolutely amazing. So just to sort of very briefly sum it up, 3 years effectively you're into let's just say for simplicity a rehab, and then after those 3 years you're functioning totally normal member of society, and you're not considered to have any drink, alcohol, drugs problem at all. You're ready to go, and you're just considered a normal member of the public, and that's just really refreshing to see. Because there's a lot of 12-step stuff going in Brighton, and it's just great to see stuff other than that. A lot more on the lines of the way Chai is done, really. So that was Music there, and good jam, and done drum workshop and stuff at the end, and yeah, so I've got some really good contacts from that, and got some good inspiration, and feel really positive about where I want to go, sort of more career-wise and more life-wise. So brilliant, so worth doing. And then Tuesday this week I started my new role at a new school. I'm now an individual needs assistant, and so I've got a new challenge and new environment there to get my teeth into, and yeah, absolutely loving that. It's a total change, but enjoying it very much, and it's going to be a good challenge, and that's what I like at work. So that's all going good. New Note, we were just practicing for our concert, which is in 2 weeks time, something like that. It's our first one, I believe, somewhere 3 weeks time. Anyway, something coming up soon. So yeah, and we're getting that ready for the Fringe, and then for the sort of the summer season, shall we say. And just went to writing on Wednesday evening as usual, and then Thursday, the book group was absolutely brilliant. I don't understand why people don't go more people don't go to this group, because it's just fantastic. Facilitator there is just absolute goldmine of information and knowledge, and brilliant. And it cleared my writer's block, and this morning at 5 I was back writing my young adult novel. So it's good to see that I've actually got that flowing out again. I've been sort of, now that the winter's finished, I've been putting that time in place in order to get back on it, and today at least it was flowing. And I know, having not done it during the winter, I know there's a few things I need to just tweak and change and stuff. So, and basically get myself ready just to blur the text out and go. So I'm really enthused about that, and that Thursday book group is such a motivator and such a help for it as well. and that's brought us to Friday, which is where we're at now. And yeah, so let's go back to this day. When done the London Marathon, I just opened this letter from Ad Action, actually just sort of saying that there's a personal thanks from who is it, Guy Pink, chief exec at Ad Action, and just actually saying, I mean, the most humbling thing on it throughout all of it actually is that in total, not only did we raise awareness, but in total, combined, we all the runners earned 23 grand for a sponsorship, which is fantastic. So that's really, really good. And yeah, and then it tells me my official time, which I hadn't actually checked. I kept saying it was about 5 hours and 3 or 4 minutes. So it's officially 5 hours, 4 minutes and 29 seconds. Is what it says there. But yeah, this day, right. So let's go back to 5 miles into the marathon when my foot, for the first time, or the second time I guess, because it must go over at the start. I didn't notice the start. I missed turning this camera on at the start, and I missed the clock because I watched the video and I've got the start time totally wrong. So that just shows you, doesn't it, sort of the level of emotions that are going on there. But anyway, yeah, I get to, I'm sure it was 5 miles in, and that's the time when my foot touched the pads that has the little chip, which was, I saw that kicking around as well. There's a little chip basically that you just tie into your laces, and that then enables people that have downloaded the app to follow where you are in the race. Every time you walk over one of these pads, it just sort of checks you in, and it will give you a time and where you are in the marathon. And at 5 miles there was the first one, and it was funny because I think I checked in video wise just before, and then I checked in just after, and I was quite different. The before and after was quite different. That moment when my foot just touched, that's what it was. It was pure connection all of a sudden. Touched the pads that I knew then sent a message out to whoever was watching and following me on my run. That connection just instantly made me break down, and it was so out of the blue. I was really not ready for that. I was so not ready to be flipping, bawling my eyes out at like 5 miles in. That wasn't. I thought I might have an emotional moment, like, I don't know, sort of 16, 20 miles in or something, but certainly not at 5. And it was uncontrollable. To crying, basically, just pure emotion. Like, I felt so thankful to be alive. I felt so humbled that people that I haven't been in touch with for years, contributed to the sponsorship, and just all the little comments from different people that I've mentioned it to and I've seen, and old friends giving me really good support in the run up to it, and people surprised. Just everything was compressed into that split second when my foot touched the pads on the road and sent that message out, and I just sort of could visualize that signal just going out to whoever was on the app or whatever. And it was that sense of connection that that I was somehow connected to them, and they were connected to me, and the way that the whole thing had just sort of brought that together really bowled me over. It didn't knock me off my feet, but it had a pretty good go at trying. And that's why I ended up crying like mad in the London Marathon at mile 5. But such is the way that event is, so highly charged, really, the whole thing. I mean, I think I ran probably the first 12 or so, 12 maybe, yeah, 12 miles I've got in my head for some reason, just on the crowd and the energy and the vibe and everything, I wasn't running fast, but what did really affect me in the later stages was not my pace, because the one consistent tip I got from people that had run a marathon before is don't start off too fast. So I was very conscious about not doing that. And trust me, because I'd put myself where I had, I mean, back before Christmas, I had to, or just after Christmas, I think I had to put in an estimated time where they were then going to pull me, on the day of the race. That's where you get put in these different sections, different gates, and I was in gate 9, and that's dependent on what time you put in on the sheet months before you get to the marathon. So if you've done one in the past, you might have a gauge, but I had no idea. So I went online and just found that there was a graph I remember looking at, and the spike where the majority of people come in is 5 hours and after. So I thought, okay, well that's probably and certainly this was for first time marathon runners. So I thought, okay, so that was that. And then later, about halfway through my training, I realised that I could definitely put a quicker time than that. And that probably would have changed my time, but I'm not. Trust me, the time is the last important thing in the whole experience. It really isn't that important, and it's weird the way some people ask that as if it is, but that really doesn't matter because of where I was placed. I spent the first good, I'd say 10 miles at least. If a marathon, you're supposed to just run forward. When I was training along the seafront and stuff, I just ran in a straight line. Now, for the first 10 miles, I don't think I ran in a straight line for more than 2 seconds. You were zigzagging through the crowd, and then you'd get to a big bunch of people, and you'd have to really slow down, and then you'd get to an open space, and then you'd try and get back to your pace, and you zigzag. I ended up on the pavement a few times just because that was the one clear place. I found myself quite liking the very centre point as well, particularly where it was where the road was usually a double traffic, two-way traffic, because in the middle people for some reason tended to avoid that, so that was quite a good route. But it was so busy in all that section up to Tower Bridge that you can't run. I couldn't run at my pace at all, really consistently. I very rarely got to the pace I wanted, and then when I did get a chance, I felt like I needed to make it up, although I made sure I didn't do that because I knew it was going to come back at me later in the race. So yeah, I mean, that's in order to change my time. I would just put a different time on my sheet for a future marathon. That would be the simple way of sorting that out. So I don't know. I'd have to work out exactly what I reckon I could do now. But in terms of changing my experience, I wouldn't change a thing. It was absolutely amazing, and I could just talk about it, and I have this week for a long time. But I feel like I've babbled at the camera enough and checked in enough for now, so I'm going to have my tea and I'm going to learn some bass lines for the choir's gig this weekend in Eastbourne. And my ankle's scratchy, and it's the one injury I have from the London Marathon. I just want to document it so I remember that I actually got it. Otherwise it will just be rose-tinted glasses that I remember that experience. And this is just basically from my feet rubbing together, the foot of the sole of the shoe scraping my ankle there. Done it on this one and the other ankle, and it's healing. But at the time, it was like a razor blade. It was really sharp pain, I remember. But just ignored it and got on with it. That's the only injury from the marathon. That's it. So not bad, really, is it?